Hi, this is Olajide from CTF Security and welcome to another web scraping tutorial on YouTube. Generally, web scraping provides a convenient and fast route of extracting real-time, reliable and accurate data about competitors, weather, economic environment and many more. To create tools that scrape news articles, Python is an ideal programming language that provides this capability on top of multiple other benefits such as its extensive library and more. In this tutorial, we will focus on scraping news articles from an online newspaper website using Python and BeautifulSoup library. We will walk you through step-by-step instructions on how to set up the environment, inspect the website HTML structure, and writing the actual script to scrape and export the data to a CSV file. In addition, we will also learn how to summarize articles using natural language processing and as well as finding sentimental analysis from extracted articles. By the end of this tutorial, you will have the basic understanding of web scraping. You will be able to apply the techniques to scraping data from other websites as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So welcome back to the channel. So the site we're going to be scraping in this video is called punchng.com, and this happens to be their official website. So the idea is, let's say you go to the search button and you put in some keywords. So let's say election, and you hit the search button. Now you'll be presented with a list of some articles, and if you look closely, we have total number of 10 articles. So our job in this video is to be able to grab the links of these 10 articles, pass these links into our script, which will then find the summary and the sentimental analysis, including the images used in the articles. The script should also be able to pass the output of this article into a CSV file for the user to review. So the next thing I'm going to do is to ensure I have all the required libraries we're going to use in this video, which are the request library, the text blob library, the newspaper library, and lastly the BeautifulSoup library. So what I'm going to do now is to head straight to my terminal. I have all this library, but anyway, I'm still going to run the command so you can follow up. So the first one we're going to check is the request library. So we use the command pip install requests, and we wait for the result. So we have requirement already satisfied, which means I have this library installed already. So we're going to move to the next one, which is the newspaper library, which is pip install newspaper, and we hit the enter key. Okay, I think I have the other version. So let me just check for the other version. So let's say newspaper library, I think 2K or something. Okay, so let's see what we have. So we can just add Python 3. So one of them is I think deprecated. Okay, we have 3K at the back. So what I'm just going to do is head back, and we can clear these junks, and we say pip install newspaper 3K. Okay, we have requirement already satisfied. So we're going to move to the next one, which is the BeautifulSoup library. So I'm just going to run pip install bs4, which stands for BeautifulSoup. So we also have requirement already satisfied. And lastly, pip install text blob, hit the enter key. Requirement already satisfied. So now we're good to go. So I'll just clear the screen. The next thing is to set up our environment and create our Python script. So in order to do this, let me cd into my YouTube directory, and from there I can create a new directory called Punch News, and right here I can create a Python script using Mousepad. Mousepad is just a text editor, punch.py. So you can use your own preferred text editor. So I'll add the and symbol to keep the terminal wide open to execute commands. Okay, great. So now we have our blank page where we can write our Python script. So the first thing I want to do right now is to import all the required libraries. So I'm going to start with the import CSV. Remember I said we are going to be exporting our data to a CSV file format. So we need the CSV library. So the next thing I'm going to do is to import the request library. Then we're going to import the newspaper. Then we also need the BS4, but this time around we're going to be using from BS4 import BeautifulSoup, which is what we need. Then lastly, we're going to be importing from text blob. So we just need to import the text blob only. So let's save this and ensure we are working on Python. So just click reload. So if you have Visual Studio Code, you can as well use your Visual Studio Code. But right now I just prefer to use ordinary text editor. So the next thing we're going to do is we need to be able to extract our keyword from the website, just as I have described earlier. So let's just comment out so that our code will be readable. So we're going to use the URL of the search results. So we want to grab URL of those 10 articles right now, but we need a specific keyword. We want the program to be in such a way that user can just put in their keyword, and this will determine whatever the program is going to scrape. So we're going to use a variable keyword. So let's call it let's use input, and input, let's say enter. Let's tell the user to enter keywords. Sorry about that. You would like to scrape. So let's put a column right there, a space for readability, and we close our quotation. So we can close the bracket. So on the next line, we use the keyword, same variable, equals to. So we want to be able to convert the whatever keyword the user entered, just in case let's say the user entered a uppercase or a capital letter. We need to be able to convert this capital letter into small letter. So we're going to use the keyword dot lower, meaning want to convert to lowercase. And the next thing we're going to do is to grab the URL of the website, which is equals to. So I'm just going to add to the page to grab the URL. So if you look closely, this is the URL. This is where it stops, and this is where the keyword is located. So I'm just going to copy this. So add to our terminal, beg your pardon, enter our script. So we're going to paste this right here. So I'm going to close this and close it in a quotation, and so it becomes a string.
So the next thing we're going to do is to use the same URL equals to so let's concatenate URL plus our keyword, our already extracted keyword. So so that is the end of concatenating or forming our URL for this project. So the next thing we're going to do is to make a request to this URL we've created. So let's comment this out also. So I'm going to use the make a request to the URL. So the next thing we're going to do is to create a new variable. So we can call it anything. In my case, I'm calling it response equals to let's say request, because we want to use the request library to make the request. And we use the .get, meaning we are some of like we are downloading the request to our PC. Then we pass in the parameter, which happens to be the URL, and that is all for the requesting for the URL. So the next thing we're going to do is to create our beautiful soup that we're going to pass our response to. So let's go ahead and do that. So create a new comment and let's call it create a beautiful soup object. So the next thing is we're going to create a variable called soup equals to beautiful soup. So we're using the beautiful soup library right now. So we are passing our response, which is the parameter. But this time around, we're not just passing the response as a variable, we're passing response.text form of the variable. So response.text as a parser, and we need the whatever kind of parser we are using. In this my case, I'll be using the HTML .parser. So you can also choose to use the LXML parser, so whichever one you want, that is fine. So I'm just going to enclose my bracket and let's save. And that is all about creating the beautiful soup. Now we can extract all the article we need, but because these articles are more than one, so what we need is we need to put this in a loop, so in such a way that we do for one, we extract one, and it goes around extracting the links of other URL on that page. So to do this, what we're going to do is let's create a new comment and let's call it extract the URLs of the articles. And to do this, we'll create a new URL. So let's create a list for that. And just like I said, we need a loop. So we can use the for data as just a variable in soup that we have created. Find all. We need all the links. Now this will now depend on what we are going to pass into this parameter right here. So in order to get what we are passing, we need to head to the website, and from the website, so let's search for that again. So let's say election. Okay, good. So let's scroll through. We can just pick the first one. So if I pick the first one, we'll just right click on the link, click on inspect element, and from the inspect element, we are able to get the href attribute, which is an attribute for the anchor tag right here carrying the link. And if we take a look at it critically, so let me scroll down a little bit. Sorry about that. Scroll down a little bit. Okay, good. So let me pick the tool one more time and just try to hover around this article. So good. So you can see that these articles here, they belong to a div class called the post content, which in turn have an attribute carrying the link. So if we scroll down to another article, so let's say this particular one, so let's pick, and same thing, we hover around the article, and you can also see it is having a div class of post content and the href attribute carrying the link we needed to extract. So what we are going to do right now is to pass in a div as our parameter and also this class name. Then we can see how we can extract out the anchor tag with the href attribute. So we're going to head back to our script right now, and what we're going to do right here is to use the div as our first parameter right here. So class, we use the class underscore to represent the class. On BeautifulSoup, then we say equals to, what is the name of the class? The name of the class is post content. So I'm just going to close the quote, and I think we are okay right here. So since I'm working with a loop, or we have a column at the back of the line, and the next thing I'm going to do is to just indent a bit. So let's say, I think that should be 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so what we're going to do now is to start to gather the anchor tag which is carrying the link. So let's create a variable called a tag, which is anchor tag, equals to we have data as our variable above dot find all. Okay, good. So we need the anchor tag. That is what we needed to find. So from the anchor tag, we can now access the href attribute. So we can go to the next line. So this time around, we're looking for the href equals to let's say we have anchor tag dot get. So from the anchor tag information, we want to be able to extract the href, and close, and what we have is, let's say for a in a tag, we're just trying to look through each so that we can get our href. So I'm going to close, and the next thing is to join these together using the hrefs, equals to just an empty we have just an empty string, so we use the dot join href. So lastly, we need to append these urls dot append into the list, and we have hrefs. Close it, and let's see what we have. So before I proceed to print this on the screen, let's make sure my indenting is appropriate. So I'm just going to add to the back here and just add just 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll repeat the same thing for other lines in the loop. So I'm just going to save this, then we can go ahead and print. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can say print urls, and can save this. So we'll head to the terminal, then I can use the Python 3 punch.py to execute. So we need our keyword, which is election. Okay, good. As you can see, we have our links, each of the links. So you can see them right here. You can see the links. All right, great. What we're going to do next is to clear this from the screen, and we can go back to our code and we move on. I'm going to pick just 3 paragraphs from each of those articles, and I'm going to comment this out right here. So script first, let's just say first 3 paragraph or so. So I could come back to edit this, but let's just leave it this way for now. So the next thing I'm going to do is just like we did in the loop, we're going to create an empty list, and we will call for a loop in URL So I'm going to make a request to the URLs we've extracted above, and remember we have them to be response equals to request dot get. I don't just want to access this using a global variable, so I'm going to be doing it locally inside this loop. So the next thing we're going to do is to use the newspaper library to create an article object. So we're going to create, sorry about this, create a newspaper article object. The way we're going to create this is we'll declare a variable equals to newspaper dot article, and we pass in our parameter in. So let's not forget, I don't need this, so I'm just going to remove it. This is just meant to print it on the screen to see how far I've gone in our code. So let's head back and continue. So on the line 34, we have article equals to newspaper dot article, then we're passing the URL as the parameter. So I'm just going to leave a space for readability, and then we need to be able to download and pass. So this should be like a comment. Download and parse the article content. So that's just the way the newspaper articles library works. So we're going to use the article dot download with an empty parameter, followed by an article dot parse. Then we also have an empty parameter. So we're also going to be needing another BeautifulSoup library, and we should be able to summarize article using natural language processing. On the line 40, so let's start with summarize first. So I'm going to summarize the article content, and to do this we're going to be using the article.nlp, and so I'm going to be creating my BeautifulSoup object, BeautifulSoup object. Okay, so just like the way we created the BeautifulSoup object above, so BeautifulSoup equals to BeautifulSoup, So we're passing the same response dot text and the same parameter, which is the html dot parser. So the next thing we're going to do is to first of all extract our title. We need the title, we need the paragraphs, we need images. So we're going to do this one after the other. So let's start from title of each of the articles. So we'll call it extract the title of the article. Okay, so from here we're going to use title underscore tag, just a variable name, equals to soup dot find. So let's go and find our title on our website. So if we go to the website and let's say we grab let's say from each of the link, because we would have already accessed these links using the request library. So I'm just going to pick this for example. So let's right click on the title and click on inspect element. So we can pick our tool and grab the title, and now you can see that the title is inside the h1 tag. So we need to extract the title of this post, and we discovered that the title is inside the h1 tag of class post title. So in order to extract this out, I'll just head to my script, and we're finding just the title. So we're using the h1, and closing this. So we can have title equals to title underscore tag dot text, which we have converted this to a text dot strip to remove unnecessary white spaces. And next is we can enclose this with an empty parameter, and we head to the next one, which is we're extracting the first 3 paragraph. So if we look at the way the paragraph of the article is, so I'll just head back to same script, and let's see on the body. So I'll pick my tool, so you can see the p tag right here, and if we trace the p tag, you can see that it's also enclosed inside the post content div, inside the div and post content class. So what we need to do is to scrape the first 3 paragraphs here, 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do is to head back to the script, and we can use the div tag, just a variable name by the way, equals to soup dot find. So just like the way we did the initial beautiful soup, so we're passing the div tag, and we are passing the class of name, which is post content. So I just prefer to use the single quotes post content. So I can close my tag. So the p tags equals to div underscore tags dot find or the p tag. Then we're going to find all, then we're going to filter it down to just 3. So that is what we're trying to do right here. We are finding all the paragraph tag within this div, and after finding this, we want to cut it down to just 3. We need to extract the image URL of the article. So if we head to our website, you can see that every article on the site comes with an image, and this is just an example of the image on this article. So if you pick your tool one more time and you click on the image, you can see that it has an image class with the name post image. You can see it right here, and it has a div class of post image wrapper. So that is what we're going to use right now. So to extract the image, we enter the script, and from this part here, we can use image, which is img tag equals to soup dot find. Just the same way we're finding the div, comma, then a class underscore the name of the class, which is post image wrapper, post image wrapper. So I can close this. You can use a conditional statement to check this or to validate this in case if an image is not found on the article, what should happen. So in order to do this, we can use the if condition image if img underscore tag is not none, meaning if it's not found, if it's not empty. That is what if it is not none means. So we are going to use the 1 2 3 4. So what will happen, eimg underscore url equals to just a new variable img underscore tag dot img src. So that will be the actual image part that will be recorded in our CSV file. Then else, meaning if it does not meet this condition, so what should happen? So meaning if it is none, okay, I think I have an error here. So I'm supposed to end this with a column. So 1 2 3 4. So img url equals to empty. So you shouldn't throw an error, instead replace that field with just an empty string. So we're done with the image. So the next thing we need to do is to create a list containing the title, the text, and we should be able to also incorporate our sentimental analysis into this program. So what we're going to do is, so just a minute. All right, so let's create, you can leave one space and just create a list of or a list containing title, status, summary, sentimental, analysis, and others. So the next thing we're going to do is to create a loop, just like we've been doing this time around, just more than a loop. So we're enumerating the p tag. So 1 2 3 4 text equals to the paragraph text p.text dot strip to remove extra spaces. Then we can also have blob equals to text blob. Then parameter is going to be our text. So now we're going to pass a sentimental analysis to our script. And to do this, let's call it sentiment variable equals to our blob, which we just created, dot sentiment dot polarity for sentimental analysis. And we can check. So what will happen now? I'm going to just give my own defined options for this sentimental analysis. And if we use the if sentiment is greater than 0, so because it's going to be read in digit, so what will happen? So if it is greater than 0, I want the status to be positive in string. So else if sentiment is less than 0, so what should it output? In this case, I want the status to be equals to negative. This should be in the code. Else, so it's 3 conditions. The first one is if the sentiment value is greater than 0, it should output positive. If it is less than 0, it should output negative. And else, if it is equals to 0, that means it should output neutral. So that is what I'm going to do right now. So we have else status equals to neutral. So I can just save our work and we proceed. So let's have a condition to just test I equals to let's say I equals to 0, and so that is what we're going to be using for the summary. So I'm going to say summary equals to the article we've downloaded and passed earlier dot summary, and the next thing is data dot append. Let's say what will be displayed on our CSV file, which is first of all it will start with title. Let's start with the text, start with the sentiment, also status, whether positive, negative, or neutral. We also have summary, which is what we're doing. Then we also have img URL, which is the variable of the image link. And just close this. I think that is all. So I can close. And else else what happens, else 1 2 3 4, that is the indentation. Then we have data dot append, meaning if possibly it failed, we have replace this with empty string, comma, text, comma, sentiment, comma, status, comma, then we have an empty, comma, then we have for the image URL also. So just remove the space. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so I can close this right now and close the bracket also. So that is the end of the conditional statement. Now we're going to focus on exporting this data to a CSV file. So I'm just going to create a new comment. Let's say writing output to CSV. So we need to use the with open, the name what we want the CSV file to be called, which is in my case punch.csv. So pass this into quote, comma, I want it to be writable, comma, and a new line equals to an empty string. I can close this tag and open. We are open as f, which is the name. So next, we're using an indentation, and we have writer equals to csv.writer, and we pass in our file. So next we have writer.writeRow, so exactly how we want it to be placed and arrangement. So we're going to use the title first on the left hand side. Sorry, this is supposed to be a string, title first, then followed by the paragraph, then followed by their sentiment, followed by status, the sentiment, followed by summary, followed by the image URL. So I'm just going to close this and the brackets. So the next thing is we're just writing our writer.row, write row. Then we're using our data in here. So that is all. And lastly, we want to be able to print it is done message so that we won't just leave our users waiting for result. So we need execution completed message at the end of the script. So print, let's call it finished scraping, check your current directory for your script CSV file. So I'm just going to save this and ensure that the file is saved, and let's run. So run python 3 punch.py. All right, so we have an error. So we have the post image wrapper. So if we go back to the script, post image wrapper. Okay, so we have a quotation right here. I'm just going to save and we can rerun. Okay, line 28. Okay, so on line 28, okay, data equals to an empty list. So just to save this, and let's see what we have. So we're waiting for the result. So we have a message telling us enter keyword you would like to scrape. Let's say election. So we just give this some time. So if we get our message saying finish scraping, check your current working directory, that means our program has executed successfully. So I'm just going to head back to the terminal right now. So we have an error. Okay, that says response equals to request dot this. That should be on line 31. So I'm going to head to the script on line 31. So it's supposed to be request dot get. So I'm going to save, and we can make a rerun. So let's clear this and rerun. So let's just look through if we can spot other errors in our program. So we are on line 31 right now. Okay, so I've fixed this line 31. Okay, so we also have issues on I think line 81. Right row. So it's supposed to be right row, not right row. Okay, so we'll head back to the scripts on line 81, I think here. I'll just remove this and I can just save my program, head back to my script, clear the junks, run the script, enter my keyword, which is election. So right now we are on 81. The last error we corrected was on 81 right here. So I don't think there's any other error message right here. So we should have our code executed by now. Okay, great. So we have finished scraping. Check your current directory for your script CSV file. So what we're going to do is to ls. So on our current working directory, we have this. So I can just run, what kind of file is this? File punch.csv. So this is a CSV text file. So what I'm going to do is to just bring in my document. So from my document, I can head to ctfsec, head to YouTube, which is the directory we're using, and from the directory we're using, we can see that we have our file right here, which happens to be 98.7 kilobytes. So I'm just going to right click on this, and we are opening with the uh, CSV compatible application we have on the Kali Linux. So if you're running this on Windows, you could use the Microsoft Excel program to open your CSV file. So I'm just going to sit back and relax and wait for our result. All right, so we have a preview of what we have. I'm just going to click on OK. All right, so we have this to be output of our script. And if I scroll, you can see that this is the first one. Election EFCCRS 12 in Kano, Castina for vote buying. And if we go to our program, and we type election, which is our keyword. So let me just confirm that for a moment. Okay, election is our keyword. So let's head here and just use that same word one more time. So election, to see if our results is just the same with the GUI. So I'm going to close the inspect element. So you can see the first result, which is election EFCC 12 in Kano, Castina for vote buying. And if we head to our library office, we can see that these are the paragraphs. The Economic and Financial Commission said blah 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 and the likes. So you can see it also here. So once you click the link, you'll be able to read the full message. Then the next one says NNPP screen 6 aspirant for Kogi governorship election. So if you go back to the script, and remember we script 3 paragraph, which is 3 on each paragraph. So this is the first, this is the second, this is the third. So by the fourth line here, we should have a new article, which is this NNPP screen 6 aspirant for Kogi governorship election. So you can see it also has 3. So total number, we're having 31 line, including, so that's supposed to be 30 because we have three paragraph on each articles plus the header, which is this, the first row, which has the paragraph and other headers for this document. So I'm just going to move away from that. You can also see that apart from the paragraph, we have the sentiment, which happens to be 0.01 here, which is indicating a positive sentiment. We also have 0 here, which happens to be neutral. We have 0, which happens to be neutral. You can see each article has their own sentiment right beside them. And we have summary, which we use the newspaper library for. This summarizes each of the paragraph, the first line of each paragraph here. So this is the summary of this part of this paragraph. So you can read through to confirm how effective this summary is. And lastly, on the right hand side, we have the image URL. So let's confirm this URL. For example, we have the EFCC official at Oshun, which happens to be the first article. So I'm just going to grab the link. This has extracted, so copy, and just power a new tab and paste it right here and see if this generates the image we're looking for. So this is the image that has to do with that article. So let's confirm this. Go to this is the same link, EFCC official at Oshun. This one. Okay, great. So you can see the links, and we can see that we have the same image right here. So this is how you can scrape content from website of any of your choice, ranging from e-commerce website to news, weather prediction or forecast, and just about anything you want to get from any website. So guys, I hope you've learned 1 or 2 things from this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. See you next time.